Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Problem Solver Politics live stream. We are off of hiatus. Took a little bit of a vacation there, getting some well-needed R&R, but it is official. We are back. I am your host, Cardinellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Oops. Hey, everybody.
And today we got a little bit of some advice for y'all. If you get a strange package in the mail, don't plant it. Dude. This actually, Cody, is an interesting story that actually makes me think of medieval warfare. Tell us what's going on.
All right. Well, we'll go back to one of the. I don't know if this is the beginning, and we do have to fix the color. We got new cameras, and like you could tell, like we're work in progress. We've been off for a few weeks. We're trying to get back. But anyway, let's take a look at the article here. It's a little bit hard to see, and this is actually a press release from. Whoops. That's what we got this one for. I know you can see Cardin in it. There you go.
Is that better?
So the ghost of Cardin. No, because the thing's on. I need you to press the enter button, and then yes. And we're back. Okay, sorry guys, a little bit late. Anyway, this is going back now. See if you can see the website. This is the Virginia.gov, Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. This is going back to July 24th, which is Friday, I believe, 3 days ago. Says the public asked to report receipt of any unsolicited package of seeds. The Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, the VDACS apparently, has been notified that several Virginia residents have received unsolicited packages containing seeds that appear to have originated from China. Types of seeds in the package are unknown at this time and may be an invasive plant species. Packages were sent by mail and may have Chinese writing on them. So it's interesting. They instruct anyone to please do not plant these seeds. VDACS encourages anyone who has received unsolicited seeds in the mail that appear to have Chinese origin to contact the Office of Plant Industry Services through the Report a Pest email. And they're going to mention that invasive species wreak havoc on the environment, displace or destroy native plants and insects, and severely damage crops. Taking steps to prevent their introduction is the most effective method of reducing both the risk of invasive species infestations and the cost to control and mitigate those infestations. So, just don't want to go through that. I think it pretty neatly details what the risk here apparently is from the government, what they're saying. But what's interesting is, again, this goes back 3 days. Now, I personally became aware of this earlier today, and really, I had seen stuff earlier today, and the last couple hours reporting has kind of really exploded on it because it's something else I've noticed. This is from the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. Now, in the days and hours since, I guess, let's see, I had them all pulled up, and then I minimized my thing, but we now have a story here with residents from Minnesota claiming to have received these mystery seeds. So Monday, the Minnesota Department of Agriculture said it had received a number of reports from residents
This is so
who have
weird.
claimed to receive unsolicited packages. And then just really quickly want to run through again. I believe we've also, that's what I want to get to in a minute. We've also seen reports of these showing up in Texas. And I believe there's also reports of these showing up in a couple other states as well. Maryland also apparently has reports of this showing up. So I think what seems to have changed, you'll notice a lot of the reporting of these appearing in different states showed up on Monday in other states and on Friday in Virginia. What I have to imagine what we're seeing there is a little bit of just the time it takes for news to travel. Even in this modern day and age, something like people are getting seeds. But that brings me to the last thing I want to talk about, and we'll get to some more discussion on this, which is in doing some looking around for this, I mean, this is, again, the Washington State Department of Agriculture, not Virginia, not Texas, not these other states that we're seeing it show up, and the Washington State Department of Agriculture also issuing a similar statement. Now, what gets interesting here, and they say we've seen reports, and these are the seeds themselves. I guess I want to make sure you guys have seen the seeds. This is literally what they look like.
They look like orange seeds, Cody.
They look to me almost like nuts you eat, or seeds you eat.
Yeah.
But hold on, I want to show one more thing that's interesting about this.
Okay.
So there's an individual on Twitter by the name of Kevin Ong, I believe. Texas Plant Doctor is legitimately his handle. He posted this video. And I'm going to run the video for you guys. And this is, he said, Monday, July 27th, apparently Texans have also been receiving mystery seed packages. Here is a short video for the Texas Extension, don't know what that is, CEAs and specialists to share with clientele. It contains who to contact, report, and what to do. This is being released from somebody. I think it's hilarious, too. This guy's like this is the guy who legitimately works for, music playing in the background, for Texas A&M as he studies plant diseases. And he posts a release, a warning thing, and no one knows who he is. No one cares. But I thought it's fascinating because you get an idea. So what are the people who actually do this stuff? Now,
announcement in regard to mystery seed packages that are being received by residents in the United States from out of country.
Okay.
Last week, reports from folks in Washington, Louisiana, Virginia, and even Kansas surfaced of people receiving unsolicited seeds
I love this guy's accent.
in packages from China. This morning, July 27, Monday, I've gotten a report that there have been a number of such incidences in Texas that Texas Department of Ag and USDA APHIS are responding to. If you receive such a package, please do not plant the seeds or simply discard the seeds. As a good gardening practice, never plant seeds of plants that you cannot identify or do not know. If you receive such a package, please contact...
And then he goes through the lister. But one thing I thought was fascinating about that, the reason I want to bring it up is, and it is similar to how we've seen with, coronavirus, people who study pandemics, so like Anthony Fauci's never shake a person's hand ever again. We have to end handshakes, right? Because that's their job. I mean, it's kind of like you have a military advisor to say blow it up, and you have a diplomat advisor to say we should reason with them, so you can make the decision based on your advisor.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's interesting is this seems to be, we have not heard much about the origin. I have to imagine, is it that hard to really determine what a plant is? Maybe it takes a couple days, but I mean, they only can figure out plant seeds. By the way, we were talking about this before. The A in Texas A&M literally stands for agriculture. We have universities in this country going back hundreds of years to study plants and farming and stuff. So I imagine
and how we
learn
survive
soon.
as a species off of the sweat of our brow.
But it is interesting. And again, this is something else I want to bring up. It could be paranoia. It's 2020. Anything could happen. It could be one of these, because they can get to the bottom. It could be AliExpress, whatever, one of these websites that ships a lot of cheap Chinese products, for whatever reason, just randomly had stupid, harmless seeds sent to a bunch of random addresses for no reason.
Well, this comes from ABC 13 that I thought was really interesting. Apparently in Texas, in Houston, Texas, to be specific, some agricultural and Better Business Bureau people have suspected quote, it could be what's known as a brushing scam. There are online vendors out there that are trying to generate fake reviews for products. So they may send you these items and then they take your name and address and use that to create fake positive reviews in your name, says Leah Napoliello, Vice President of Operations at Better Business Bureau, Houston. Before I continue with her quote, Cody, have you ever heard of one of these brushing scams, and why would they need to send you something in the mail in order to make a fake review about it?
Honestly, I don't know. I will say this, to go back to my previous point, when you call the Better Business Bureau person for a statement, they're just going to say, well, consumer protection. Like, I don't know what, like legitimately, I think it's hilarious. This feels like, because I worked in a local, smaller than this local thing where they say, I don't know, just get a quote from the Consumer Protections Bureau.
Well, 'cause I gotta
just
tell
call
you-
them, like, can I get your statement on people getting sent seeds from China? I'm like, well, it could be a scam where they just send you product. Like, no offense, but it just feels like a weird.
Because
a
I
weird
look at
comment,
this-
but I like they got it.
And I look at this, and what more destructive way can you think of, Cody, to absolutely ruin an economy than to introduce an invasive species into their agricultural system? We have become so removed post-invention of gunpowder from old school forms of welfare. But it used to be that literally to wipe out an enemy, you attempted to spread disease amongst their population or wipe out their crops. And what better way to wipe out their crops than to salt their land or to introduce an invasive species? Okay. And what better way to poison a population than to poison their water source? These all seem like biblical and medieval forms of warfare, but I mean, they were still getting used all the way up into the 19th century. How do we know that China is not trying to send mystery seeds to all these agriculturally rich places in order to introduce some kind of invasive species of brush or grass or invasive trees? In Florida, they have a huge problem with invasive trees. In Australia, they had entire economies wiped out by the cane toad, which was an invasive species introduced into the ecosystem. Here in California, we have the invasive roof rat and the invasive mustard seed wiping out local bird, rodent, and indigenous plant populations. How do we know China isn't trying to get back at us for blaming them for the virus they created by now introducing a freaking invasive plant species? How do we know it's not like straight up geopolitical, bro?
How do we know I didn't send them? I mean, like,
Come on, no, but think about that. How do we know,
I know,
Xi
but-
Jinping isn't straight up sending
no,
us
but
seeds
th-
trying to cause havoc in
that
our
does seem to
agricultural
be
system?
the implication from the state governments going back to, like I said, on Friday when this first started showing up in Virginia. The state press release said, do not plant. And that was, I think, again, let's go back to one of the first, press releases about that. And that was what's very interesting to me was that they basically said, do not plant these. By the way, if you do, this is what could happen. And they go on to mention, basically to your point, right, that invasive species can wreak havoc on the environment, displace or destroy native plants and insects, and severely damage crops. That is right after do not plant these seeds, as far as the paragraphs go. So it seems to be kind of the message. And again, this is before we've seen some of the more, CNN ran a story today, the more mainstream reporting. I mean, this was from Friday, this came out. And I have to imagine, most people probably aren't glued to press releases from the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services.
Yeah.
But the more interesting thing I want to talk about here a little bit, because again, right, like,
Yeah.
maybe you could have sent him, I could have sent him, maybe Kobe
Yeah.
Bryant is still alive and he sent him, right? Like, a million things could have happened. But yeah, to your point, like, obviously there's threats that I think it almost in a little way is 2020's been so crazy. I mean, do you remember murder hornets?
Yes.
Murder hornets, yes.
Well,
those
I was
things.
never worried because I'm familiar with their taxonomy and their entomology and stuff. But I do remember the hysteria created over the murder hornets.
Well, also,
Were you freaked out by the murder hornets?
No, I don't care about.
No.
You know what's funny? I'm like afraid of bugs. Bugs freak me out. I don't like them. I hate being around them. They don't
Okay.
like bugs. But even then, I'm like, dude, murder hornets is not. I was much more afraid of coronavirus early on this year than I was of murder hornets. The peak coronavirus fears, I was way more afraid.
Oh, dude, no, you were straight up freaked.
Because I had.
And by the way,
I'd
is there a
watched-
little bit of I told you so in this one where I said 6 months from now you're going to look back and realize you feel a little bit sheepish for how freaked out you were?
No. It's like being scared when the plane almost crashed and like it didn't. It's like, oh, you dumbass, it didn't crash. It's like, I guess, man, but it was scary for a little while. That it looked like it could have. Potentially, that could have been what happened. So anyway.
All right, so we got
let's
a
get
couple
to-
super
yeah,
chats
you wanna,
here.
You want to go to those?
Yeah, so Caxton Jones, first super chat since I got back from vacation. Thank you very much. Caxton says, was starting to worry we'd see a Cody/Carden cabinet listed on Wayfair before we heard from you guys again. Dude, Cody, I legit think this, bro. This I legit think, and you can take it to the bank, okay? And I didn't want to say anything because I don't say anything in the week after after tragedies have happened. But I got to tell you, I think the wealthy and the powerful in this country have gotten so brazen in their ability to get what they want whenever they want, even if it's, in terms like this, like the Wayfair scandal, so much so that pretty soon I think the wealthy and powerful are going to get so brazen that they're not just preying upon people that can easily be kidnapped from scenarios where they won't be noticed as quickly, as much as they'll just see a menu and they'll just think, I want that person over there.
Dude,
and then they're going to boom.
Adoption scams are way easier than that. You just adopt someone on paper. It's way easier to do that. And then have them go off to somewhere else. And then, I guess like that's way easier than other things.
Dude, it was fishy how that girl died in Lake Piru, bro.
All I'm saying is
It was fishy.
People have been trafficked. People are being trafficked as we speak all the time, always, forever. I think if they're going to get more, it's probably shocking how brazen it is sometimes already, right?
No, but think about this, Cody.
This stuff goes on.
Let's just say there was somebody that watched our podcast, thought, dude, Cody's a good-looking guy. Like, I want a piece of Cody.
Okay,
What's keeping him from just getting some ex-Mossad dudes to kidnap you for $1 million?
That's my point. And then why do anything more elaborate than that than beyond have set up some phony adoption agency instead of a public website I'm going to go on to? And you call someone and they set you up with this phony adoption agency that adopts you someone on paper.
Because isn't there like...
Hold on, I'm not...
Isn't there a braggadocio to it?
No, I think... I'm done. I'm only at a scope. $5 super chat. So they are Australia cactusing us. Spooky. Why doesn't someone plant one inside? Hi guys. Wait, that's what I'm thinking. Like, don't we like Texas A&M is not like.
Wait, what's
shtick?
Australia cactusing us mean?
I'm not that. I'm assuming it's the reference.
Does he mean
of,
cane frogging us?
I'm assuming it's reference something. One of the many times a invasive species was introduced somewhere.
Okay.
I'm familiar with that one. I'll look it up though. It's interesting. But no.
I got the third super chat.
To the point though, I thought the same thing. It's like again Texas A&M. It's their shtick is they like study stuff like this. There's guys who study this. It is interesting to me that they aren't able to get like if these showed up on Friday, did people honestly say, yeah, look, we know we got these mystery seeds from China and they could be some invasive species or whatever, but hey, you know what I mean? It's Friday. I'm working from home. I'll clock in on Monday. Like, does it really take that long to figure out what this stuff is? Because even today on Monday, 2 days later, from governments, the messages that I've found, let me know if I'm wrong, I'll look around more. It's been changing in the hours, but I've just seen them say, do not plant these. They could be dangerous. No, we believe it to be X. We have like, do they know what these things are? Is it that hard to figure out? I don't know.
So, Scapo brings up a really good point here. Says, thank you very much for the super chat, Scapo. Guys, keep these coming. Says there would be much easier, less public ways to plant invasive species if they were trying to be covert. This is one of the worst ways to do it. Dang it, Scapo. I was having fun. Scapo. Why are you bringing in all this wisdom and all of this rationale?
Why not have tourists fly into the country and visit places and plant, quotes, plant the seeds and then return from their trip? Like that would be... Why don't you just pay a company to plant the seeds that you send them and say, these are different seeds?
Like, no, because they would be outed as operatives. They would be outed as spies. You don't want to send your actual spies that you spent years training, developing allegiance. You don't want to be doing any of that. When you can just send it in the mail for 35 cents and the cost of the stamp.
Why not just mislabel them and tell them it's something else?
They did. A lot of these people, it says, they thought it was jewelry.
No. Why not have a website that sells pumpkin seeds and then sell somebody pumpkin seeds? But anyway, one second. Okay. I'm going to another $5 super chat from Scapo. Thank you very much. And he says, welcome back. You should do a behind the scenes on your production sometime, gear, writing, research, software, workflow, etc., and throw some affiliate links up. Yeah, something like that probably we should. But the problem right now is that we've been every week or two, as you can just replacing and upgrading and moving things around. So once we've got a lot of that stuff kind of more ironed out again, that would be fun. But anyway, though. I just want to make sure, just back to the seeds front, and make sure there's no more mystery seeds breaking news. But I believe that's the gist of what we know right now. The experts and the people that know about this stuff more are definitely saying do not plant these, and we're definitely seeing reports from a lot of different states. I think that's the weird thing to me. That's the thing that feels to me. And actually, you know what? I was clowning earlier on the idea of these consumer protections, people getting pulled for quotes, but I saw one of these articles. Let me see if I can pull it up, where they brought up something very interesting, one of these consumer protections people. And they brought up the idea that, and I think you've brought this up. You were telling me this before. It is rather shocking, really, the amount of people that have access to your home address.
Oh, no, it's
like businesses
absurd.
could just buy it for not that much. It's sad how cheap your
50
information
cents
really
to
is.
$2.50.
Because they need, 100,000 people, so you can't charge that much per head. But they brought that. I'm trying to pull the article up, but they mentioned it. But they brought that angle up, and I do think, here we go. This is from this is from Jane Rupp, the same person who talked about the brushing scam. And so, hey, that's
Yeah.
what I get for clowning on things. But they said this. They said this is rather random. I don't think I've heard of seeds before in reference to brushing. The first thing you do is Google your address and see what's out there. Numerous things will come up when you Google your address. It is scary sometimes. But yeah, I think that's because the fact that it's all across the country, that's weird too. You think if they're trying to do like a targeted attack on the local ecosystem, unless like they created the death plant, and if you plant like one seed, like scorches all Earth for thousands of miles, like you would think they'd be more localized,
Yeah.
smarter maybe than just sending random seeds. So it does feel to me a little bit more like I don't want to say like a computer glitch, right? But it feels to me like something stupider was going on here than a coordinated attack with plant seeds. But I think it also speaks to just where we're at in 2020, man. Where people are like, a bunch of people start getting random seeds from China, and like, oh my, speaks to our relations with China. I believe Chinese officials occupied, took over a embassy in we had set up in
Houston.
No, an embassy we had set up in China that the Chinese
okay.
now have
Yeah.
control of because we took over their embassy here. So I want to pull that up. I don't want to get too far into this because I have not been following the Chinese American.
Dude, I think things are
stuff
going to get hot
super,
with China
super
pretty
close.
soon.
But I mean, I
But-
definitely think. My only point is, I think a lot more people are thinking that as well. Because look, like mystery seeds come from China, and people are like, oh my god, what's going on? Like normally it'd be like, well, all kinds of mystery
I don't think
products come
things
from
are going to
China.
get gunpowder hot because I got to tell you, I think a lot of the governments of the world are realizing that it's just not worth it for the gunpowder hot warfare. But let me tell you, the cyber warfare is worth it. And pretty soon, cyber warfare isn't going to be enough. I think economic warfare through introducing pandemic, disease, invasive species of plants, and just bad stuff is going to be the future. Things that they have plausible deniability in. They could say, "Oh, well, there was a mistake, and all of these, invasive cane toads were introduced into the Everglades because, what can we say? You guys order so much." Fish products from us that one of the frog products got mixed up or something, I just think that's what's going to happen, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust him. I don't trust him at all.
Okay, but I know you don't trust Chinese. You've been saying about the Chinese government forever. You don't trust Chinese government. I don't trust any government. I don't know what government I do trust in this country. I don't trust any of them. But anyway, this is
Iceland, they seem to play nice.
what do you know about the Icelandic government? Anyway,
Namibia, they're
what do you know
never been
about
on my.
any of those governments? Anyway, I want to get to this.
They're not sending
This
me
is from
seeds.
the Chinese Global Television Network. I believe that's what CGTN stands for. Anyway, media from China. But check this out. I want to talk about this because this happened the 27th of July, 2020. They used the inferior system like every other country of any Europeans in chats, right? Anyway, though. Check this out. The Chinese Foreign Ministry on Monday today confirmed the U.S. Consulate General in Chengdu, capital city of the southwestern province of Sichuan. I don't know how you pronounce that. Was closed at 10 a.m. Beijing time, I guess. I don't know. Chinese authorities have entered the building and taken over the now closed consulate. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said on Monday that China's request to close the U.S. consulate in Chengdu was a legitimate and necessary response to U.S. closure of China's Houston consulate and forced entry of American officials into the premises. That's what's crazy, though. Chinese authorities have entered the building and taken over the now closed consulate. I mean, yeah, it's like American, and they're saying, well, Americans did it to us. Just one of the things going on in the background. I think, again, why people are feeling the same way you are and they get mystery seats from China and their mind starts racing a million miles is because, like, what we actually have going on is we have American officials entering the Chinese embassy by force in Houston and shutting it down, and now Chinese officials in kind shutting down an embassy in China for the United States.
Yeah, a lot of these things, though, these are the
It's
chess
just,
pieces.
what's going on, right?
Yeah, the closing and the opening of the embassies is less of a blip on my radar just because they're always doing this nonsense. This is what diplomats do. They get angry at each other and then they close the embassy. Well, I'm going to close the embassy on you. And then, well, it's not the diplomats themselves. There's more people involved in the chain of command there. But it's not uncommon to see whenever there's some kind of short-term falling out between countries that somebody's embassy closes and then a year later it reopens in the exact same city because these people want to spend each other's State Department money. And it's, I don't know. The closing or the opening of embassies to me is not really a gauge. Well, a miniature gauge. It's not the most dependable gauge of the relations of a country.
Can I make it simpler?
Because they're all divas.
Is it a good sign or a bad sign?
Bad sign.
Okay. All right.
Bad sign. I shouldn't say bad. It's sign that there's drama. It's drama. All right,
I mean,
that's what
Chinese
it is.
authorities entered closed U.S. consulate in China. That sounds like, oh wow, that's not.
Well, no, it's
normal.
not a bad sign because
feel
they
like I
told
don't
them all,
read
you
these
gotta
headlines every
go.
day.
They cleaned out their desk and were probably gone 48 hours before.
I get that, but it's just like we used to have better relations with China just a short period of time ago, maybe years, right? And now it leads into the, I don't want to say hysteria or panic, but it leads into people saying like, what are these mystery seeds I'm receiving, right?
Yeah.
What's the word? It kind of adds to the thing. Because I think, dude, I think in a different circumstance, if people started getting random seed products from China, it wouldn't have been picked up as national news.
Okay.
I think it would have been local oddities. Isn't that weird? If they came from, is it the former Yugoslavia, right? Is there no Yugoslavia? It's former Yugoslavia. But if this came from Estonia, people would be like pulling their hair out like, oh my God, what do they do with these Estonian seeds that are coming up? I think people are more curious. Honestly, they'd probably be like, hey, the Estonian flag's pretty cool looking. But no, seriously, there is significance to the fact that it's coming from China. Even though everything is shipped to us from China for the most part. Or circuitously shipped to someone else who ships it to us.
Yeah.
Why would it be so shocking that some random product keeps getting mistakenly sent to people in America? Sounds within the realm of... I wonder if it's ever happened before. I wonder if... I thought I was ordering a backpack on Wish.com once, and I wasn't ordering a backpack. I was ordering a replacement little plastic insert you put in the backpack so headphones can be wrapped.
Oh, no, really?
But, I wouldn't be surprised if, 5,000 of those just got shotgunned out to random addresses in the United States. I wouldn't be, freaking out, whoa, man, that's, I mean, this obviously isn't quite anthrax. Remember anthrax?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was...
Everybody was freaked out.
Wasn't there recently
Castaic Lake.
No, but people thought there was a chemical attack even recently. Because of anthrax, I believe powder was in mail that was sent to
No, there's been a bunch
Trump.
of.
No, but it was
It was a ricin attack.
No, but I'm saying is just a few years ago,
A false ricin attack.
I believe powder in an envelope was sent to Donald Trump Jr.'s now ex-wife, I believe.
No,
But
there was 4 or 5 of them from that crazy dude down in Florida.
No, those are the fake bombs. Either way,
Oh.
just saying, because of the anthrax attacks that happened 20 years ago now, powder in an envelope freaks people out, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. I wouldn't want to open it.
Is seeds in the mail something that's ever freaked people out? Is it going to be something now? It's like a boogeyman? Dude, if you ever get sent mystery seeds, don't touch them because you never know if it's genetically engineered by a Chinese government to end America. Isn't that sound a little weird?
Okay, the show choir guy in me is geeking out right now and just totally made a connection, Cody. What if this is the famous musical that came out in the 50s? Do you know what it is?
Oh, yes. Grease?
No, it had your boy in it. Oh, whoops.
Knocked
Oh, that was an ammo bin. Hey, we're super masculine if whatever falls over.
Fiddler on the Roof?
No, Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, Little Shop.
Dude,
Okay.
remember Little Shop of Horrors had the plant
Okay.
with the weird seed, but it needed human blood, and so it grew out, and then it just got everybody and stuff like that. Anyway, we got a sweet super chat. Adam Duffy, thank you very much for the super chat. Says, hey guys, super glad y'all are back. I've been missing my PSP. Well, we've been missing you. Thank you very much, Adam Duffy. Huge shootout. By the way, if you guys got any questions, let us know what's on your guys' mind right now. And by the way, who else has heard about this cool, crazy Chinese seed thing? I'm actually really interested what states have been hit because I was looking on the list and it was Louisiana, Ohio, Texas, person in Nevada, and oh gosh, now I lost the list. But I mean, this is pretty widespread, Cody. This ain't just some kind of localized thing.
Oh, yeah. And
I'm
reports
almost
keep
wondering.
showing up every day.
I saw on one of the packages that it said dogweed jewelry. And so I was thinking, who knows? Maybe there was a clerical error where people that thought they were buying dogweed jewelry got sent some kind of dogweed seed from the same fulfillment center or whatever. But what if it was something more hilarious than that? What if somebody was ordering something kind of a little bit embarrassing and some list got hacked and they all got sent seeds instead of the embarrassing item? That'd be really funny. Kind of like when, I don't know, AshleyMadison.com's list was hacked or something and everybody that had a profile on Ashley Madison got busted. I think that'd be really kind of funny if China somehow accidentally sent to everybody that was on one list all the products from another list, so you're able to know who was on list A by those who received stuff from list B, and then it became some kind of public relations scandal. That would be pretty funny. But hey, that's just me. I do have a question for you though. You did say
Oh, by the way, I was trying to look up more info on the idea of... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, what about the lady that was frickin' macing people in San Diego for not wearing a mask? Do you think that's going to become more widespread?
I hadn't heard of that.
Oh, you didn't hear about that?
Dude, I have seen a video of a guy murder his neighbor because they didn't want to move a mattress out of the alleyway. Okay, yes, I believe anything. I'm so tired of this. I mean, like, can you believe this guy punched that guy? It's like, dude, I have seen the stupidest things ever. I have seen videos of people literally kill each other over nothing. Okay, yes, I believe it, man.
No.
I believe all of it.
Okay,
I believe that people have literally stabbed each other over much smaller differences of opinion than should you be wearing a mask or not. Especially if somebody legitimately believes that seeing people out there not wearing masks are endangering the lives of others. If they're being intellectually honest with themselves, I would believe they'd probably act like that. They'd probably physically accost these people who are endangering the lives of others.
So this has gone viral, and I just sent you the link in Discord if you want to pull it up. But I remember the second or third week into coronavirus, Cody, you and I made a video titled What is our breaking point? Do you remember that? What is our breaking point? Or have we reached the breaking point? Because it seemed like 2 or 3 weeks was just crazy.
You left out a big part about this woman, by the way.
Yeah. So
You left out a big part.
What did I leave out?
That she's an elderly woman. Yes, if an elderly woman legitimately believes that people out in public not wearing masks are a danger to her life, I would not be that surprised that she sprayed them with mace. I really wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what's.
Are we gonna have a bunch of copycat grandmas out there?
But what's the
straight up point blank macing you in the face?
But what's the story here? I don't get it. What's the story?
Is that people have freaked out so badly. The media has got everybody tied up into such a tightly wound knot, all right, that there are people out there that think it is literally an act of self-defense to preemptively, actually, I don't think she was looking at it as an act of self-defense, but the face mask has become such a psycho test of virtue.
No, hold on.
That now you got people facing each other.
I think you're inputting all that. What if that lady is just an awful woman who'd beat you with her purse for standing in her way anyways? We know nothing about these people. That's why I hate these videos. I hate talking about it. You always want to bring it up. Nothing bothers me more than two random dumb people in the street having some stupid confrontation I have to care about.
I don't think the poor guy that was eating lunch with his family was dumb.
Really? Tell you what, spend 5 hours with them and tell me then. I have no idea. Maybe I'd hate all these people and say both of them deserve it. I have no idea, man. Like, that's why I don't like looking at videos of legitimately random people and being like, well, says a lot about America. Really? Does it say a lot about America? Do you want me to show you the shirtless fat man shooting his neighbor over the mattress in his side yard? Want me to show you the video of the old man doing a drive-by on a riding lawnmower against his neighbor over like petty disputes over like fences?
Wait, hold on.
All this stuff goes on.
There's a video of a dude doing a drive-by on a lawnmower.
Not great angle, but all this stuff happens all the time. It's why I don't think we should stop the presses because two random dumb people found a way to hurt or kill each other. Happens every day, man. All the time. Non-stop. Unbelievable stuff happens all the time.
I'll tell you
people
right now.
People get like shot by bows and arrows for for their dog barking. I mean, like, what is this?
I would much rather be stopping the presses for a video of a dude doing a drive-by on a lawnmower and somebody getting shot with a bow and arrow than for all the stupid stuff that we stop the presses for now. Like, I don't know, the last knuckleheaded thing Fauci said or whatever the World Health Organization thinks.
But even I don't love these institutions. They're more newsworthy than some random guy and some random girl did something. Today, TMZ did a story. It was humorous, but it belonged on TMZ. You know what the story was?
What?
A bunch of people in Memphis, I believe. They showed up and they tried to leave their kids at like a mini putt place. So there's like 300 kids, some of them like older teenagers, 15,
sure,
at this mini putt place with no parents. The mini putt place is like, this isn't gonna work. And then I guess they weren't refunding people, and a mini riot broke out at a mini putt place.
Jeez.
Now, is anybody going like, wow, really says a lot about America these days? What's going on at this mini putt place in Memphis where a small riot broke out over I believe the tipping point was a young woman said the arcade machines were rigged and the employees buzz off, so she threw a thing at him. I mean, that argument, by the way, should that be news? Oh my God. Can you believe arcade machines at mini putt places are rigged? Anyway, let's get to the super chats. I'm sorry. Sorry. It's just that thing drives me so crazy. I keep seeing stuff like this in the news. Just two dumbass people having some stupid argument. Like, wow, what do you think about that, huh? It's like they're probably both stupid. I don't know. Anyway,
You okay,
$5
man?
super chat from a $5 super chat from Canadian. $5 Canadian super chat from Canadian. A lot of Canadian. The Chinese Communist Party has lost the mandate of heaven. I'm like 1,000% sure of that, but
Oh, what's that mean? What's the mandate of heaven?
exactly. Anyway,
I want to look that up. That sounds
While I get
poetic.
to that slide, Cactus, $10. Welcome back, my post-vacation bros. Mr. Good-Looking Face with 2 questions. Cody, are you excited for the NBA bubble approaching soon? And 2, when's the movie channel coming up? Am I excited for the bubble? My fingers are crossed. I woke up this morning to my friend who lives on the East Coast texting me baseball was canceled. Baseball wasn't canceled, but they postponed a few games. People are getting sick. I'll believe it when I see it. I am very excited. I'm still a little bit bummed out as a Lakers fan. I thought it'd be great to see LeBron James in Los Angeles in Staples Center with the Lakers fans winning the ring for Kobe. He'll have to do it. It's also, I don't get it. How come baseball players, the Dodgers literally just traveled to Houston today, but NBA is like, nope, everyone's got to be in one spot. But other than that, happy basketball to come back. That's all I got to say.
Dude, this is freaking genius. This mandate of heaven stuff. Cody, I just sent you the link to the Wikipedia article. Thank you very much, Canadian. It says the Chinese Communist Party has lost the mandate of heaven. This is intriguing, dude. This is almost like the Pride cycle in the Book of Mormon. It's kind of gnarly. Or the human cycle that they talk about in civics and how the American governmental system took you out of the human cycle. But apparently the dynastic cycle is the new dynasty brings peace, rebuilds infrastructure, gives lands to peasants, and protects the people. But generations pass, so it becomes an old dynasty, which taxes too much, stops protecting the people, lets infrastructure decay, and treats people unfairly. So the old dynasty loses the mandate of heaven, causing problems like floods, earthquake, peasants revolt, invaders attacking the empire, and bandits raiding the countryside, which then leads to the new dynastic claims, to the new mandate of heaven. Dude, you literally have to look up. There's going to be a graph here. If you look up the Pride cycle, all right.
Cycle, is that what you're speaking of?
Yeah, the dynastic cycle. This is literally just like the Pride cycle, all right, that you see in what's it called? That you see exactly in the Book of Mormon.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah?
I got bad news.
What?
If you were to close your eyes and I were to describe a state that taxes people too much, stops protecting them, lets the infrastructure decay, and treats
See, it's
people
an eternal
unfairly.
principle.
Well,
Dude, these ancient Chinese,
that
they
sounds
got
like,
it.
That sounds like America today. The old dynasty. Wow, that sucks.
But doesn't this evoke like those old blue blood medieval ideas that, like, you know, the Pope has bequeathed me with these lands. God blesses my dynasty and my seed. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, there's something
on, 1
old
second.
school about this, something deep, you know?
So it's interesting, but you can almost make the argument. Just speaking of deep and not deep, right? But let's play through it to your point, right? So the old dynasty taxes too much, doesn't protect people. This is very obviously this is the transparent PNG for some reason Wikipedia version of the. I guarantee it's deeper than this what we're saying, but it is fascinating. And I guess to your point, like I wonder if that's always what happens, right? It's like businesses. They call that the death spiral in a business. You have to charge more for less. That will never work. You will just fail. I mean, some people can figure it out, right? But I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, you start charging your people to more. Realistically, man, you go back. What was the old real function of government for a long time? A lot of it was safety of the people. That's why people why there wasn't peasant revolts all the time, because they were kept safe by the government. But they mentioned floods, earthquakes, etc. Okay, I don't know. But a peasant revolt, an invader attack, and the bandits raiding the countryside. I was thinking about this. You think of the stuff going on with the Antifa, whatever, right? The stuff going on in Portland and Seattle. In many ways, to me, it has kind of felt like, that does feel like Seattle and Portland have been the frontiers of this kind of, I don't want to say far left or left wing, but these weird black-clad, is that the word? These weirdos that all dress the same and spout the same political nonsense and fight people in the streets. It's been centered primarily, I would say, in Portland and Seattle, primarily Portland, for years, right? What's the frontier of America? I guess we still have a frontier or a countryside, right?
Yeah.
But it's for the country of itself. I don't know. I've always kind of looked at what's going on in Portland as kind of like the political frontier, right? Like that'd be the equivalent of, various little rural groups skirmishing hundreds of years ago. Where
So it's like the new Wild Wild West?
Well, not even that. It's just that, there's been this rising political sentiment in Portland that has led to street violence for years. That's not new. But at the same time, like when it's going, so I'm not too, I don't know if concerned is the word for it. I'm not too freaking out about what we're seeing in Portland right now because it's just the natural progression of what's been going on there. I've been saying, it really feels to me, I made the comparison to Cardin about this. It feels a lot to me like an army of Don Quixotes fighting windmills out there. And it's a federal courthouse. Like they're in all over the place, and they're like burning it down like it's the Reichstag or whatever. What was it called, right? I mean, like it's interesting to me. It's like, really, is that legitimately what you think that building represents? But it's because this is centered in Portland, right? Why aren't they marching on DC? Because they probably can't. They can do this in Portland because it's kind of like the frontiers of this weird political street level violence stuff is Portland.
Okay.
Now, I will say one thing. It hasn't, thankfully, on that, following that logic, I'm not saying I'm right, just kind of how I see it, but following the logic of how I'm seeing it in that way, it's one of the reasons why I'm not super concerned about it spreading, because it really never did. It's been in Portland forever. Andy Ngo has had like a pet project of going to Portland and getting into, like, they try to beat him up, and then he tries to write articles exposing them for like 5 years now, man. This goes back years. It's been over a year since he was beaten by protesters, right? Like, that's what I mean. There's been protesters protesting every day in Portland, as far as I know, forever, man. Like, for like 5 years. Yeah. It really never spread anywhere else. It's just gotten worse in Portland. Which, yeah, I mean, it spread during but so there's like the George Floyd riots. I still maintain all of this is just coronavirus related. People are locked down. Dude, they can do it, yeah. I cannot tell you how amazing I felt the last 4 nights being able to watch baseball. And it's not because baseball is the greatest thing and everyone should go watch it. It'll make your life better. What I'm saying is that was a simple thing I really do enjoy. I love watching baseball. Just sitting back, big fan of it. That was just taken from me by the coronavirus. Imagine the more complex and the bigger, more important things taken from people from coronavirus. And there's no sign of it coming back. That's why there's angry people. I agree. I don't tell they wouldn't be angry. So I think is, but you'll notice I feel like in a way that became like a false flag almost for some of these weirdos that are going out there like thinking it's time to burn the flag now. Yeah. Like not like symbolically, but like storm Washington D.C. It's like, dude, people were mad and pent up because they were locked down from coronavirus. The government lied to them and screwed them, and a shocking video came out. Yeah. And a lot of people got their anger out and they went home and left. Yeah. And now there's a couple pockets, and there's protests going on across the country, but there's a couple pockets where it's been really bad, primarily Portland. And, and Texas stuff's going on. I mean, mind you, speaking of Texas, someone was recently killed in Texas. Yeah. Do you remember when there was mass protests in 2014 in Texas and somebody, like, killed 7 cops?
Oh, I mean, dude, like, the crazy,
And the reason why I bring this up is not because it's, like, no big deal, right? But it's just, like, it's putting things in perspective. Like, this is, when Obama was president, people were shooting cops at Black Lives Matter protests 5 years ago. Okay? This isn't like, oh, my God, the whole world's changing now. I don't believe, that's my belief. That's my stance, at least. Okay. Could be getting worse and spreading, and that could be not good. I agree with that. But this is all stuff we have seen before. Okay. I mean, this has all been going on for a while now. There was police throwing tear gas canisters at Black Lives Matter protesters in 2014 under Barack Obama and Joe Biden.
Yeah. Those chumps.
But the thing is, all that's changed is the media hysteria largely around these events. Yeah. Because it's like, yeah, this is what's happening, that is happening now. It's gotten worse in some places, and that's bad, and people don't like it. People don't like violence and stuff. It's not good, it's getting worse, but also it's not like this just came out overnight. Like, none of this has been going on. This has been what's been going on for years now. But again, also one of the reasons is because no one else is allowed outside. When there's 500 people who don't want to riot, just mingling about in the streets, 100 rioters don't really matter as much. Because it's like, well, there's a bunch of people there, and they're not going to move for us. So then it does become 100 people assaulting a crowd, right? Which is what they're trying to say is not going on. But when there's nobody in the streets, and most businesses are just closed, traffic's empty, yeah, like I would imagine that's probably the time to ramp up their nonsense, but it's... It never is for a moment seemed to me like burning buildings down was winning hearts and minds. So that's why it's never really concerned me too much.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just going to readdress and just wrap up. Canadian, awesome comment about the CCP losing the mandate of heaven. I didn't know that the mandate of heaven was like a legit phrase, but that's pretty cool. I told you it sounded like something deep. Like something deep and archaic, like Aslan said in the Chronicles of Narnia, the old magic. You know what I'm saying? That's like the old magic right there.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's one of the reasons why I'm always
Yeah.
a big fan of things like the old. But if someone came up with an idea that's so goddamn good, like 1,000 years later,
Yeah.
we talk about this idea. Maybe even if, it had been led astray or whatever, there was at some point value in it. It always drives me crazy. People are like, yeah, but like it's been abused in the last couple hundred years. It's like, I guess,
Like
man.
manifest
But
destiny.
maybe there was some value in that thinking that let it get on this long. Maybe it was
Yeah.
perverted by man. I agree. Happens all the time. Maybe the ideas aren't what's wrong.
Like the manifest destiny of the United States of America.
Well, not even like that so much, but like things like, for example, like this. I wonder, like, people have like political theory that goes back 1,000 years, and we'll just be like, all right,
Okay.
what do you know? Human beings aren't like. There's this one picture I love. It's a picture of some hipster guy, and he's sitting back in like biblical times, and they're like, how do we create this electricity you speak of? And
Yeah.
he's just like, I don't know.
It's like a kid in King Arthur's court, baby.
But I mean, it's like, yeah, I don't.
Hey,
Not
so
gonna- we have a bunch of
I'm
super
gonna
chats to get
give
to.
my half of the super chat really fast, and I'll cover the rest. Sly Cactus. I can tell you right now, there's nothing that floats Cody's boat more than sports. I'll tell you that much right now. On an island, if he had to bring one thing with him, it would be somehow some kind of connection into the sports world. That's what he would bring with him. And then when's the movie channel coming up? We're actually filming the first 10 episodes right now. We're at least, 3 or 4 in, Cody, and we're having a lot of fun color correcting some of these old films. In fact, you can see a stack of them right here because they happen to be on my desk. We were just getting to the first couple of them. But we've got Ghidra, the original 3-headed monster from Godzilla. We also just finished Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That's a pretty cool one. And these are all actually on the old...
My favorite movie.
Yeah, that's Cody's favorite movie. And they're all on these old Super 8 film digests that we use to watch them. It's pretty rad. And, Cecil B. DeMille's Cleopatra. That's actually going to be going on the list for this week. It is coming. It's taken us a little bit longer because I did have to go on my family vacation. First family vacation in 3 years. That was pretty cool. So, anyway, the movie channel's coming up. You guys are going to be the first ones to know, and you're actually going to have a sneak peek at everything when we do start it. And I'm super stoked for this. Like, super, super, super stoked. Anyway, $5 super chat from Mousy Lou says, Canadian here. I wonder, what do you guys think of the USA's response to COVID compared to other countries? I think it was absolutely horrible because we didn't stick to our guns of freedom. We didn't stick to our values, and we really didn't stick to anybody else's either. We kind of... Yeah.
We fought each other to this day over our response.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's what we did. Like, I hate it how Democrats in our country are always saying, oh, well, in Sweden, they have a Medicare for All program, the X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C. Well, I would have loved it if those people said, well, in Sweden, they're not shutting down. They're just educating their populace on how they can do their best to slow the spread and avoid the curve. You know, so it's like we want to be Sweden in 2014, 2016, and 2018 when it's politically convenient for M4A arguments, but we don't want to be Sweden when it's an actual pandemic response. We didn't go psycho China and draconian where they just, shut everything down, but then built a bunch of temporary hospitals for the people. You know what I'm saying? So we had the draconian shutdowns without the draconian hospital building, and we had the, I don't know. We just fought each other. That's as a people, I'm disappointed because as a people, we just fought each other, as Cody said. And in my government, I'm very disappointed because they did not the best of both worlds. They did the worst of all worlds, I feel. Cody, what's your response?
Well, I would say, honestly, and it's my opinion on this from the whole time, it's been the same opinion, is the only thing the government realistically can do with a thing like this is maintain the trust of their people. That we do have your best interest at heart. We are doing things to protect you, and if you listen to us, you will be safe. Literally, no one believes that and hasn't from the beginning because, like you said, dude, I remember we did a video. In like 9 days, the rhetoric one from Fauci was like, you know what? I see people out there wearing masks. I don't like it. The masks from medical personnel. And then like, masks, they don't even work. And like 9 days later, you must wear a mask to go outside because they help stop the spread. It's like, why would I believe these people at all? Like, why? It took a week for them to get from masks didn't work to you must wear one.
Yeah.
And again, it's not like wearing masks, that's a crazy idea. People have been doing this for every day in parts of Asia for various similar outbreaks that happened. Speaking of, we did it in America for the Spanish flu, right? Like, what happened was a lockdown, right? I feel like there's always a time limit on a lockdown, unless you have literal military vehicles on street corners enforcing it. Eventually, people will just get out. And we saw it. Remember in New York City when there was the worst? When New York City was the pinnacle of the universe of coronavirus deaths reported.
Yeah.
People were going to the park and hanging out. It's just you can't control that many people. It's one of the things. Speaking of peasant revolts, right? You can't stop everyone. So you will have, and the government did even with all the baloney, all the obvious lying, all the obvious doublespeak, all the obvious fighting and bickering, there was 20 days, people probably did largely just stay home, and they just listened. They're just you know what, fine. If that's what we have to do, we'll do it. If the government says...
because Americans are cooperative.
Yeah, but again, 15 days to slow the spread. Most people are like, cool, I will stay with you, government, on these 15 days. And then when they go back and forth, well, maybe longer, maybe 90 days, maybe 6 months, we don't know. Maybe we'll close, maybe we'll reopen. Maybe some things can reopen, some things can't, back and forth. Yeah, people just don't listen or trust the government. So when you have a pandemic out there, even if you're telling people to do something that might not be the most helpful, if they're all doing the same thing, you can kind of get your arms around it.
Yeah.
Okay, we told everybody to go outside and do jumping jacks and it didn't help. Stop doing that. Yeah, whatever it is. But when it's some people are getting sick not leaving their house, some people are getting sick going to theme parks, some people are getting sick going to concerts, some people are getting sick going to protests, some people are getting sick, we don't even know how. Some people are getting sick and they don't even know it. Some people are getting sick and dying. So you have that confusion. No one really knows what's going on with this. The government obviously doesn't. They didn't know it existed allegedly they didn't know it existed in December. We'll see what happens to that, right? But they lost the trust of the public. Holy cow, it was 25 days into this. And I would say, in general, most people are more interested in having political bickering with people who had different ideas than them than anyone thinking that we should have some unified approach to this. That took 20 days to be you know what? Government's full of crap. It's all baloney. And then because you'll notice that you literally cannot hold the stance in America that what the government's saying is correct, because the government's saying everything. Different parts of the government are contradicting each other. They're suing each other. They're passing laws. Different states are... who are you supposed to trust? Maybe your local government? Okay. I will admit that. I think that's one of the main shifts politically. But anyway, your question was, what do I think of that in response to other countries? I would say it appears that other countries have done a better job of getting back to what my original point was, of not losing complete trust. The UK did a very poor job of this. UK people were kind of the same, as far as I can tell. A little bit different, smaller country. Yeah. You brought up Sweden. Sweden didn't lock down. Sweden's also basically Massachusetts spread out over the size of Idaho. So you know what I mean? It's a little bit easier for them to just not lock down and deal with it. But even then, you talk about lockdowns. One thing I really thought, and I think the biggest failure the U.S. had with this, I don't know, I can't speak of every other country, but the biggest failure with the lockdowns is, I'm not a virologist. I'm pretty damn sure you don't beat a virus with the lockdown. I'm sure a lockdown's really good for limiting how many people get sick up front and jam production, right? How many people are in waiting rooms, and it was bad in some hospitals at the beginning, right? But I have to imagine you do a lockdown to slow that initial spread, take care of that first wave of people, prepare better measures, and then when you start letting things reopen again, you're in better position to deal with them until a vaccine comes out. And even when a vaccine comes out, will it be a perfect vaccine? Fauci said 80%'s fine with it, 75%, I'm golden. I believe Fauci said both of these things. He's not particularly concerned about how safe it is.
In them, dog?
I'm not getting into conspiracies, but this is what the government's saying. We're not obviously it needs to be safe, but it's more important we have a vaccine and we have to get it trialed now. Yeah. And if the vaccine works 6, 7 out of 10 times, good enough for me. I mean, there still will be coronavirus even after the vaccine. It's still going to exist. So this notion that we could just lock down the country for 9, 10, 11 months and then the virus goes away, it's just the lockdown will end and then what happened? We lifted lockdowns and there was a spike in coronavirus. It went up because, yes, we went from nobody was outside to more people were outside. The virus didn't just magically leave because we locked it down. But This where you need the government to have the trust of the people enough for them to tell people things and they listen. No one's going to listen. They think it's hilarious. Somehow we've reached a point where every single person in this country, despite their political belief, thinks there's disingenuous liars in the government trying to push an agenda deliberately to hurt them. Doesn't matter what you believe that.
Except it's true.
for everyone. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy how everyone's always right about that. But I don't know. Anyways, I think that was the biggest fact. I really don't like how the U.S. government yanked our chain so much and then basically left us out for dry like 20, 30 days in. Everyone's just like, well, guess I'm on my own. Government has no idea.
Well, let me piggyback off what you're saying too, though, Cody, because I'm disappointed in us as a people. I am genuinely disappointed in my fellow Americans because we bickered so badly. Our wealth has made us so wealthy that we can bicker over the virtues of mask wearing or not instead of banding together to fix a common problem. We've got enough in our coffers that we still don't need each other so badly that we will come together over political arguments instead of choosing to virtue signal and vilify our political enemies. Like that was a shame to me. And Scapo dovetails into what I said a little bit right now. He says, thank you for the super chat. Scapo says, if my father catches COVID, he dies. Mask wearing is emotionally charged because it's life or death. I have friends with permanent nerve damage from COVID.
Thank you. Yeah, point exactly.
No, yeah, but the thing is, I got a problem with this. I do have a problem with this because
what do you have a problem with?
The media has Scapo thinking if his father catches COVID, he dies. No, he doesn't. Let's think of this holistically. He has a better chance of dying because, yes, it afflicts the elderly more. But it's not some automatic death nail.
Hold on a second.
Let me finish my thought. Okay. He says mask wearing is emotionally charged because it's life or death. No, it's not life or death. I think it is emotionally charged because, yes, it has basically become a new test of virtue. We all know we should be doing it, but somehow we're so divided as a people and we're not unified enough yet that we actually have made something we all should generally agree on doing into a political football. And he says, I have friends with permanent nerve damage from COVID. Yeah, well, I have friends with permanent nerve damage from everything. And yes, COVID is dangerous and we do want to keep ourselves safe, but we also have to ask ourselves safe in comparison to what? There was a child psychologist that just gave the most beautiful and interesting discourse I've ever seen. You need to go look it up. He said, we have raised a nation to live in fear. And he says, we are coddling children until they're 40. We're having them live in their parents' basements until they're 39. You know, we're doing all of this to protect them. And we always use this word safe, except for he says, whenever somebody says, I want to keep them safe, and people ask me, is it safe? I always ask back, in comparison to what? And that's what we've stopped doing. So I respect that Scapo wants to keep his father as safe as possible. And I totally respect that. I think we all should be wearing masks when we're in public, if not just make each other feel more comfortable and show that we're a cooperative people that can make it through something together. You know what I'm saying? But I don't sell this idea that we have to live in fear of every sensationalized thing that the media wants to throw at us, and that we can't actually analyze something for its risks and its rewards and then apply basic truths of the Constitution in the process. I don't like it's created this false binary of life, death, good, bad,
You're
Democrat,
arguing
Republican.
Against like 50 different thoughts and ideas melded into one person who doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's called holistic approach.
Is that the word for that BS? Holistic approach? Now I know what to call them. People are BSing me that way. They say a nice holistic approach. But dude, like, who gets to decide what is an acceptable risk of death for other people? Who gets to say, are you dumb, dude? It's only X%. Like, what if they say, that's too damn high for me? I don't want any of my loved ones dying, period. Tell me it's too damn high.
Okay, so should we outlaw natural gas because it causes, 25
Hey, are we talking about natural gas right now? Are we? I know we were.
We're talking about something.
We're talking about.
Okay, here's what we're talking about, Cody. We're talking about something that has less.
My point is this. My point is this to you all the time. People are allowed to feel the ways they want. If they say,
okay, then why don't we outlaw cars? Because cars still kill us more than COVID.
They're not contagious. It's apples and cars. They're not even the same thing. My point is this, man. And back to the point of Scapo, the commenter. He said this, that it's an emotionally charged. That is why it's emotionally charged. You could argue around why it's dumb for it to be emotionally charged. It is because for some people, 1% an unacceptable risk of death from a pandemic. That's too high for some people. So you could say that shouldn't be too high for you.
We're hanging out at like 1/10 of one of that.
What I'm saying is you could say that you're being unreasonable, or you could just address how people feel. That's what I believe in. Addressing how people actually feel. That's why I wear a mask. Not because I always think it's funny.
But I also think that people would feel a lot better and would be getting along a lot more if they were empowered by facts. But they're not empowered by facts. They're empowered by sensationalism.
Who decides facts, by the way? What are facts?
I-
Let me ask you a question. Who is the arbiter of sensationalism and facts? Who decides that's not sensationalism? Those are facts. Who
Okay.
decides that's not facts? That's sensationalism. Who's the arbiter?
Okay, it is sensationalism to
every-
say that if your grandpa walks out and comes in contact with somebody that doesn't have a mask, that it is a death nail.
Okay, who's saying
That's
that? Who's saying that?
sensationalism.
Who's saying that?
Whoever convinced our homeboy Scapo that it's a life or death
No,
situation.
he says that if he does get it, who knows? Maybe he has an autoimmune disease. Like, if he does get it, trust me, it'll be bad. We don't know anything about this stuff. It's what drives me crazy. Again, getting to personal instances of people and like extrapolating it to the media. See this guy punching this dude? The media. Like, dude, it's like some people are just like, wow, I really wish that my loved ones don't pass away from coronavirus. So if people could please do some things. Dude, you do realize that there's people that have like requests, sometimes unreasonable, based on their health needs that they give to others. And really, dude, it's up to you. You could just say, piss off, I'm not wearing my mask, and walk by him. You can. It is a free country.
Except they're going to mace you now.
Okay, so what? You mace him back.
By the way, what do you
Stand
call
up for your own rights that much. What I'm saying is, dude, it's like...
So it's a stand your ground mace
Sorry,
state.
I want to get to these other super chats, but it just I feel
Yeah,
like we
so
have...
Silver Fang.
But what's like, I just want to
Okay.
wrap it up. I feel like we have this argument a lot, and it's like, dude, like, people feel a certain way. You could reason why their way of thinking is stupid and they shouldn't feel it. And it's not, it's because the media, right? But like, just confront how they feel first. People feel that way. Okay. People,
This is why you
people
would be a better...
feel like if people get coronavirus, and I have a question to ask you, Cardin. Why would one feel that if a person in a certain age group with certain health conditions got coronavirus, they would die? Why would one feel that way? Is it because it literally can happen? And it does. I have people in my family refuse to fly. They literally will, because you know it's hard to get a boat across the ocean. They don't really get to travel the parts of the world they want to. But they're
Did they
afraid
do
of
it during MERS? Did they do it during
no,
SARS? Did
they
do it
were
during
afraid of
swine
planes
flu?
crashing. They've been doing it for 50 years, dude. They want the plane to crash. You could say it's
Oh, that's
unreasonable.
freaky.
Planes never crash.
Oh, wait, no, but there was
I
a
could
football
beat them
coach
over
like
the
that.
head with it and say planes never crash, you moron. How unreasonable are you? Media hysteria, right? But I just respect. Okay, fine.
Okay, so then maybe you have a different way of dealing with your
Fine.
loved ones that
I'll
don't want to fly.
I'll tell you, why
than
don't
I
you?
do.
Well, you can choke your uncle and say, "How dare you not fly in
I
planes?"
would not
I mean, like,
choke
what,
him.
What I'm saying is,
I
like,
would probably hit him with a
there
sock.
are people who, because here's the thing: do planes legitimately crash? Hey, sometimes they just vanish. We don't know what happened to them. They'll just disappear, like the Malaysian one. They'll just get deleted from the server, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you could say it's a low % chance. Come on. And guess what? I think more people have died from coronavirus this year than plane crashes in like 100. Okay, like it's I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just like
we don't have 100,000 plane crash deaths. That is for sure. Silver Fang says, "I think if people had, think if people had jobs, riot would be so big." No, not at all. I see a lot of this as being people are angry. There's all kinds of stressors that are going into these riots, more than just George Floyd or BLM or socialism versus capitalism. This is all of the above. This is a bad multiple choice test in good governance, okay, in which all of the above is the option that tens of thousands of people are taking every week and manifesting in the streets. So, Silver Fane, thank you for the super chat. Now, My Melanated Scope continues to say, "I have 2 jobs and I still riot. And George Soros, CNN, and the Clintons pay me. So 3 jobs, I guess."
Well, I think, but that gets to the Solar Fang's point too as well, though. I maintain the reasons why if people had jobs, the riots. My larger point is if these cities were functioning at 100%, it'd be a lot harder for just people to take over portions of them, right? But these cities are operating like 30, 40% right now.
Yeah.
By people having jobs, I just mean like the city back up to function, right? Like, dude, people have been trying to take over parts of Seattle and Portland for like 4 years. What changed? The city shut down. People stayed inside. Just kind of let them do what they want.
Okay.
It's easy to shut down traffic when there isn't. Dude, try to shut down traffic when there's rush hour on like a Wednesday. When people had like 2 days off every week for the last 9 weeks working a dead end job, nobody's having it. And it happens. It doesn't really work. And the police like gets people out of here. You can't stop these roads. But now a lot of this stuff is enabled by the fact that cities aren't functioning. You can, reduce it to if people had jobs. But if things were happening and working as cities normally do, there just wouldn't be the space and the leeway for people to get out in the streets and take over the streets the way they have. Because there'd be enough regular people doing regular people things to just be like, knock it off. Like, we're driving. Like, the city is functioning. It's going on. It's not stopped. There's no opportunity here. Like, everything's log jammed. There's traffic. Stuff's booked for weeks. There isn't just empty buildings no one's been in for weeks. You know, there isn't restaurants that, like, all that. Like, everything is how it's always been. And I think that's the bigger contributing factor. It's less the having jobs, and it's more just, if nothing's working and everything's stopped and nothing's going on, it's a great opportunity to take the streets because there's nothing happening.
Yeah. Ephemeral Mind States. Thank you very much for the $1 super chat. Oh, dude, look at that, Cody. Look, dude, this new autofocus from the Sony mirrorless is just absolutely awesome. I'm totally digging that. Anyway, Ephemeral Mind States, thank you very much. And Sly Cactus. Sly, good to have you back. Says, America was wearing the wrong mask the whole time. It goes on your mouth, not on your eyes. Loving the symbolism, Sly Cactus. And also, he had a really good question, Cody, that is more for our movie channel, but I will ask you right now because oftentimes on this channel, people do like getting our opinions on cinema. He said he just finished a bunch of sets of movies and is looking for a new recommendation, and he really wants something with a Da Vinci Code or a National Treasure feel, kind of like, you know, that pop culture history vibing with the hot chick running next to you as you got to save the world while you're going through the catacombs, and then you know the secret code because you read the history books kind of thing. Dude, that's my kind of movie too. So me and Sly, I'm one of those chumps that can watch like National Treasure 5 times in a row. So
you skipped the super chat. I missed that. Michael Alexander. I got you. Don't worry, man. Michael Alexander, especially because I remember seeing this one and then we went over it. Michael Alexander, $5 super chat. He said, "Hey guys, I'm headed off to Air Force basic training in the morning. I'll miss watching your videos. Hopefully, I won't come back to a civil war." Well, I guess they'll be calling you back then, right? But no, but
and it wouldn't be a civil war because one side actually would know how to use the guns that the other side had tried to outlaw. If we ever got hot,
do you know what
Civil War
do you know how to fly a plane? Can you fly a fighter? Either way, though, very cool, man. I wish you all the best of luck. I think that's awesome. I think I don't know what you're doing in the Air Force, but if you do end up flying planes, that's cool stuff.
Wait, who was that? I missed that super chat. I didn't see that one. Where was that?
I have a list on my screen you don't have, so it's probably just like I blended into a couple other things.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious. I hope I don't come back to a Civil War. Oh yeah, there he is, Michael Alexander, Air Force basic training. Thank you very much for your service, Michael Alexander. What a stud. We got a lot of studs in the chat. And finally, anyway, Scapo says, "Thanks, Cody. Cardin. I won't dig into my father's specific health issues, but it's life/death for him." Yeah, I believe it. I got leukemia, man. I'm like one of the number one things on the list.
You believe it now.
Yeah. All right. So I get it. But he says, "I've done 600+ hours of my research. You don't know where I get my info. Happy to elaborate sometime." All right, dude. I will always be willing to elaborate. And by the way, good on you, Scapo, for freaking being there for your dad, man. I got nothing but mad respect for people that put family first. I love that phrase, that no success outside the home can compensate for failure in the home. And obviously, regardless of how we disagree or agree on our government's response to coronavirus, no greater ally and no other response is more necessary than the one that your family gives you. So Scapo, Mondo shout out. Thank you for the super chat. I'm sure your dad very much appreciates you and obviously raised a very valuable, good, solid young man. Back to the movie question. Cody, what's a Da Vinci Code-ish, National Treasure-ish kind of movie, man?
Honestly, I can't really think of any.
Oh, come on. No, there's some cool ones. Like Indiana Jones was a little bit that way.
Wait, I'm assuming if you haven't seen Indiana Jones, go watch Indiana Jones.
Dude, there's tons of millennials and Gen Zers that like Indiana Jones.
Don't watch them in chronological order, not reverse chronological order.
What would I get? Yeah, you would have to watch them in regular chronological. Although, wait, they're not.
Just don't watch the last one first. That's not good.
Oh, not the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
with 95-year-old Harrison Ford. That one wasn't good.
Yeah, and nobody has made a good movie about those crystal skulls though. Cody, are you aware of the real phenomenon of the crystal skulls?
Do you know who's obsessed with them?
Who? Alex Jones?
No, even crazier than Alex Jones.
No, who?
Dan Aykroyd is obsessed with them.
Get out. He is.
I know you're not a drinker. If you've ever actually been, he literally has a Crystal Skull vodka that he sells, and it comes in a skull.
Oh, no, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Dan Aykroyd's vodka company called Crystal Skull Vodka, I believe.
Wow. Okay. Well, so what are you woke to the crystal skull?
Well, how about the Nazca lines? You woke to the Nazca lines?
Oh, dude, I am woke.
Yeah, there's all kinds of
the
like.
Nazca lines.
How about the Baghdad battery? There's all kinds of weird things out there we can't really explain.
No, but the Baghdad battery is not something that we couldn't explain. We're aware of how the Baghdad battery worked. It was the first time that we really figured out people could use electricity, and they believed that they were using electricity in
hold on.
order to leaf goods.
I apologize. Someone in chat
What?
brought it up. Fiskatronic. Yeah, you're right. If you haven't seen, he said all the Mummy movies. I would watch The Mummy and The Mummy 2 with Brendan Fraser. I think it's like the Scorpion. No,
Oh, you don't think that? You think that's as good as National Treasure?
well, I mean, I don't know if it was good, but along those lines of movie, you're right. That is the type of movie that's like that. It's kind of like modern, not modern, but kind of like that period.
I can see that.
It was. I honestly just loved those movies as a kid. And The Rock shows up in CGI form, I believe, in the second one.
Oh, and it's horrible when you look back now. It's horrible. Back then, it was like, oh, that's almost believable. Now it's just like, oh, that's bad. Hey, I just thought of another though, but the chemo brain's kicking in, and I'm not remembering. Oh, wait, no, I just remembered it now. Tomb Raider. Do you feel Tomb Raider reached the threshold of being interesting in an Indiana Jonesy and National Treasure enough kind of way?
A movie like that, yeah, the Tomb Raiders, they're fine. They weren't. Honestly, Tomb Raider, it feels like a goofy movie, a goofy video game to make a movie of, and like playing the Tomb Raider games. Like, you know what I like the Tomb Raider games?
What?
Because they are basically like jumping puzzles. How do I get to this ledge? Oh, I got to get over there and pull. How do you make a movie about that? I'm making a Mario movie. It's like a majority. I get the aesthetics look like you should be able to make a movie about it, but the actual game is like you shoot T-Rexes, but mostly you just kind of jump around and do flips and grab ropes. So I was like, what's the movie gonna be?
Okay. Well, you still haven't answered my question. That are you woke to the Crystal Skull question?
I don't know if I was woke, but no, I know that there's like these mysterious crystal skulls in
But they're all
South America.
They're all
And
the
we-
exact same
Yeah,
size,
we can't explain
dimension.
stuff. I understand that. Yes.
I mean, that is freaky as heck, dog. That doesn't make you like question your very existence and everything you know on Earth. These skulls. Look, I'm gonna look this up really fast. We only got 4 more minutes here, so if you got any more super chats, get them out of your system
Hey,
before
and
I
if-
get lost down the rabbit
And
trail of
if-
crystal
just
skulls.
Tell you what, while we're just ranting about this, if you've not seen the movie
Okay.
Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt
Oh, that's on my list.
and Brian Cox, I don't know. Mostly it's Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise. That one's awesome. The reason why I brought it up, that movie's based on a comic book, I think. That movie is basically the best video game movie ever made. It's a movie that's a video game.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They actually found a way to narratively in the story have the respawn mechanic of video games where you die and come back just like where you started before at the same time into a movie. And it works just like a video game where like they drop Tom Cruise off in the battle and he gets killed. So he comes back to life and does it again. He's like, oh, I remember that the guys who are over there die, so I'll go this way, and he gets killed. So he has to respawn and do it again. And then he's like, okay, now I'll wait here. Helicopter. It's the funniest thing. I'm watching this movie. I'm like, wait a minute, it's just a video game. It's the most video game movie of all time, and it's based on a comic book.
So this is really disappointing what Wikipedia says. This has got to be fake news. So, wait. It says crystal skulls are human skull hardstone carvings made of clear or milky white quartz, also called rock crystal, okay, claimed to be pre-Columbian Mesoamerican artifacts by their alleged finders. However, these claims have been refuted for all of the specimens made available for scientific studies. The results of these studies demonstrated that those examined were manufactured in the mid-19th century or later, almost certainly in Europe. During a time when interest in ancient culture was abundant, the skulls appear to have been crafted in Germany. So it was German engineering that spoofed us. Of course, because Wikipedia always tells the truth. Quite likely at workshops in the town of Idar Oberstein,
Oh, it's like the
which was renowned for crafting objects made from imported Brazilian quartz in the late 19th century. I refuse to believe it. I've only read like maybe one article in National Geographic on these things.
Always.
But this is fake news. There were ancient
about-
aliens. I saw the Ancient Aliens episode on this.
Ancient aliens. There's much more compelling arguments for ancient aliens than crystal skulls.
Like which ones, dog?
No, ancient aliens is the wrong way of putting it too. I think ancient aliens refers to a specific
Ancient astronaut theory.
No, but not even
Yeah.
that. I'm not ancient astronaut theory. I think ancient aliens is scarier than aliens. That is how easy we can forget things as humans. We can marvel. How do they do this? We can't even. And that's what I think is funny. A lot of this aliens talk always comes from my favorite thing, the arrogance of especially Americans, but human arrogance. Hold on a minute here. Us, with our big brains, we can't lift this rock. No way those small brain savages could lift those rocks. It's like, how do you know they never have a different method that worked for them that we just lost and forgot?
It
Because
wasn't
that does happen.
How did they raise the obelisks? That's a big one.
Maybe they had bigger brains than us back then, and it came to certain things like raising obelisks.
Okay. Hey, so Scapo's hooking us up today. Scapo, thank you so much. Says it's based on quote All You Need Is Kill, a manga from Japan. Get that PO box, dudes. I have some anime Blu-rays to send you.
Oh yeah, I thought we
yeah,
had.
we got to get that.
And,
And by the way, actually, I just remembered Scapo had made a different recommendation several months ago. When I was asking for movie recommendations, and as I was going through my list of movies to watch with a bunch of friends the other day, I came across it. It's actually still on my iPhone. Correct me if I'm wrong, Scapo, but I think you're the one that suggested this. I have had on my movie list, and I will do this by the end of the year because I get through my movie list pretty well. By the end of the year. This was really interesting. It said Satoshi Kon films, anime that inspired Hollywood stuff. Paprika equals Inception. Perfect Blue equals Black Swan, and Every Frame of Painting did a rad video on him. I think that was a Scapo chat from eons ago that has now been sitting in my phone for like 6 months now. So Scapo, thank you very much. We will get that P.O. box. We are slowly but improving on this channel still. We got the camera upgrade that just debuted today. First time use of both of our f1.4 lenses, giving us this sick depth of field. And so, yeah, I think the P.O. box is the next thing, and I'm working on that call-in number. I was on the phone with Vonage for an hour today, too. They, like, canceled my thing and said they couldn't work with me. I was like, my account was flagged for some reason. I don't know what it was.
The most cursed thing ever has been this call
seriously.
online, man. It's just,
So anyway,
it's just cursed.
Yeah, it's 7:30. It's 7:30 here Pacific Standard Time, so it's time to go, Cody. We're going to be disciplined, and we're going to get out of here on time.
What's one last thing from you, though? One last thing.
One last thing from me?
Yep.
Is this super chat? It says, yep, that's the one. I'll send them to you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Scapo.
One last thing from me. I believe All You Need Is Kill from Edge of Tomorrow. This cracked me up. This happens in movies every now and then. When a movie comes out and they don't know how to market it. I believe I own Edge of Tomorrow on Blu-ray. It's literally called Edge of Tomorrow / Live Die Repeat. It was marketed in some places Live Die Repeat. They talked about marketing it as All You Need Is Kill. They marketed it mostly as Edge of Tomorrow. It actually is kind of difficult almost to find in searches. It's not that hard because you can type in Edge of Tomorrow. They know what you mean. But it's hilarious where it's like, why did they do that? Why did they have two different, not working titles, like titles they released the movie under?
Yeah.
And then like a third, like also you could call it the name of the thing it's based on. It's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
What's the point of basing something on something if you're just gonna? And then I don't know how faithful it was. Sorry, that was a little aside. When you brought that up, it reminded me. Yes, technically the movie has 3 names. I wonder why it didn't make a lot of money.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, guys, this has been awesome. Thank you very much for all of your participación today, and make sure that you guys stay tuned to our channel announcements about when our next live stream is. We will see you in the next one. It's been real. It's been fun. This Problem Solver Politics. See you guys in the next live stream.